Shri Prem Prayojan Prabhu Ki Jai.
I'm sorry, I got one. Oh no. Oh. Do you have a tambour on your phone?
I do.
He has.
I do. Yeah. Where did I put my phone down though? Anyone seen a black phone?
There's another black case over
What
there.
key?
Can you grab that? Thank you. That's T-lock for you. T-lock.
I only have basic tambur. I don't have with the rag, so it's just with sanpa. Okay.
This cow dung. I'm gonna move it.
Because to remove any bugs in here.
No, I'm gonna move it.
Farm activities.
Or
You can play it to here. You want it on there?
yes.
Krishna Varnam Tvisha Krishnam Sangopangasta Parshadam Jagye Sankirtan Paye Yajanti Sumedasa Bale Vrindavan
Lal ki jai, Sanawal ki jai, Jai Jai Shri Radhe, Jai Shri Radhe, Jai Jai Shri Radhe. Sham.
Jai Radha Madhava Jai Kunja Bihari Jai
Yeah.
Welcome.
I mean, I'm trying to get this just.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Krishna.
My dearest Jana Jai Prabhu, I pranam to you.
Hare Krishna.
You know, we were brahmacharis together many years ago, serving the lotus feet of my Gurudev. So this is very important in our spiritual life. Never quarrel, never argue, never criticize at all. Anyone, but especially your God brothers and God sisters. Have firm relationship of love and affection with all the Vaishnavas. Otherwise, if you commit some offense, then you'll never experience ruchi, deep taste in the holy names. And Krishna is very pleased by the loving relationships between the devotees. Parasparano kathanam bhavanyam bhagavat yasha mito rati mito tushti nibrita mita atmana svaryantascha mito bhogam haram harim bhaktya sanjatya bhaktya vibra utpulakam tanu. Krishna himself said, my devotees, they always come together and have harikatha. Parasparano katha. One is speaking, others are listening. And then another one will speak and the others will listen. Paraspara, mutual. Bhavanam bhagavat yasha. And that katara is my glorious, Krishna said, which is purifying. Mito rati, mito tushti, nibrita mito atmana. We become attached to things of this world because our heart is not fulfilled. We feel emptiness and we try to fulfill it from external things because we're not satisfied. But Sri Krishna said, mito rati, mito tushti. When Vaishnavas have love for each other, then the heart becomes completely satisfied. Mito rati, it's between each other. There's so much affection. Yeah? And because of this, their heart becomes satisfied. Nibrita mitatma, then they can give up everything. All attachments. All bad habit, everything. So how important it is to have love and affection with all the devotees. Even they may be Kanishta or Madhyam, but especially Uttam. But all. Krishneti Yasigirtam Manasadre to Rupa Goswami said, if anyone is chanting the holy name, they're not even initiated, but they chant the name of Krishna, then you should honor them from the core of your heart. So Krishna says, Svaryantas Svaryantas cha mitogogam haram harim. Those devotees who have love for each other, and because of that they are satisfied, and because of that they can give up all attachments. They remind each other all the time of me. And Krishna said, I am personally so pleased when I see the loving relationships between the Vaishnavas, that whatever obstacles are in their path, I personally remove those obstacles. Then Bhaktya Sanjatya Bhaktya means that if in that Sangha, one of the devotees has come to the level of Bhav, and then all the others, by hearing their kirtan and katha, then bhakti, from the bhava bhakti of that Vaishnava, it will spread and go into the hearts of all the others. Vibradut palakamtanam, and their hairs will stand on end. That means that the the bar has been transferred to everyone in the Sangha. This is the process. So, when I see my very dear godbrothers for many years, who have served Gurudev life and soul for a long time, they only see my heart is nothing, and I remember Gurudev. So try to understand how precious is Vaishnavas. Don't take each other for granted. And if you can always be very calm and quiet and meek and humble, not push your agenda on others. What others want to do, well, you can, even if you think it's wrong, you can just let it be. And if it's wrong, they'll learn and then they'll agree with you afterwards and follow your idea. So be very gentle and submissive. Then, after some years, you can realize what Krishna is saying about the power of Vaishnava association. That it doesn't only seeing you inspire us.
Will you please criticize me some?
I will.
Make it too easy on me. Anyway, speaking of those days with our Gurudev, we always used to, on the first night, introduce him, right? And I've been thinking that we should be doing this with the Gurudev. So, okay. Well, I'll try to speak up. So I wanted to begin this tradition here anyway. So I needed to prepare, and it took me a couple of days. So this is why we're doing this tonight instead of this afternoon, instead of a couple of nights ago. Anyway, I'm going to start, even though I shouldn't be starting. It should be some senior devotees like Ram Master doing starting. So maybe you can say something. Anyway, we have said a couple of things that I was going to speak about, so I might get lost in my skits here. But it's my honor to introduce Sri Prangyojan Guru. How many of you know him already? Oops, that was a good question. None of us know him. None of us know anyone. It's impossible to know anyone because we're all constantly changing. If you were to know anyone entirely right now, then the next second you don't. Because they've changed and you don't know what's going on. But some of us changed very little. But, the Vaishnava is fully immersed in a very fast moving river of bhakti, 24 hours a day, even when he's resting. Have you ever seen the cartoon where I think maybe it was a bunny sleeping on a mattress and the river came and picked up the mattress and floated him away down the river and he woke up someplace completely different. So even when the Vaishnavas are resting, they are flowing on the river of bhakti. A Vaishnava may make more progress overnight than we make in a year. But don't think the river is doing all the work. The Vaishnava is working very hard to swim very fast on this river by doing intense and deep bhajan all the time. And of course the river is also moving by the mercy of Guru and Gauranga. So it has been 1 day or 2 years since you've seen him. He has changed so much. Don't think you know it. This brings us to a point. Devotees may think my Guru or this Vaishnava is sadhana siddha or punyachisa. First of all, it's none of our business. Second of all, it makes no difference. But it's okay if the disciples think this way. But this is not the Vaishnava's experience. The Nityasiddha Vaishnava doesn't experience being Nityasiddha. They experience having to work hard and beg hard to become pure Vaishnava, just like we all have. They all experience the real challenges and embrace the heroic, colossal struggle to attain praying and so on. So don't minimize the Guru or any Vaishnava by thinking, oh, he just descended and effortlessly attained this current state of bhakti. Or think now he has made it and he's resting on his laurels. Gurudev continues to eagerly swim in this river, learning more and more every day, diving deeper and deeper in his bhajan, and traveling and helping all of us. So, what does praying Prayoja mean? Why did my Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivinode, give him this name? Prayojan is the goal of life. So praying Prayojan says that praying is the goal of life. I think you all know what praying is, but in case you don't, one simple explanation is divine love. And anyone who knows our Sri Praying Prayojan a little, and of course his Gurudev really knows him, knows he is the example, the personification of life in the pursuit of praying. The disciples of Srila Bhaktivinode were all very proud of our Guru for being awarded the title Yuga Avatar by some Vrindavan Vaishnavas. And he would certainly be proud of his protege, the best of all disciples, Sri Praying Prayojan, for his accolades, just as we are as well. The external achievements are just the tip of the iceberg. The real achievements of Vaishnavas, most of the iceberg is not so easy to see. For one thing, to be here with us tonight, Guru was invited to speak by the G20 in Turin at an interfaith conference. But he wanted to be here with us on Janmashtami in Miami. On Radha sorry, and here today. So he passed that out.
Oh.
But he is the World Vaishnava Association International Advisor. In other words, the Vaishnavas in this association, which are many senior Vaishnavas from all over the world, have chosen him as an advisor, or their advisor on matters of Siddhanta, because we all know he knows the Siddhanta inside and out. He's received an Ambassador for Peace Award from Secretary of Universal Peace Federation, United Nations. And this was in the British House of Lords in London in 2019. He was presented with the Mahatma Gandhi Award and the title Mahatma, which is why he sometimes say Mahatma Sri Praying Prayojan Guru. And he received the BRICS International Forum Medal of Honor and was appointed BRICS Vice President of Interreligious Dialogue on the eve of International Human Rights Day at the Taj Mahal Hotel in Delhi. He addressed international leaders of industry, science, finance, and public policy at the Government Ministry of Foreign Affairs in New Delhi also. So, earlier I mentioned this river of bhakti is moving by the mercy of Sri Guru. You may not know this unless you read the book called Our Srila Prabhupada by Guru. But Srila Prabhupada was very persistent and sincere beggar for the mercy of his Guru and previous acharyas. He did not experience being Nityasiddha. Before coming to America, while living at Sri Srila Temple in Vrindavan for about 6 years, he was seen and heard every night, sweeping around the samadhis of the acharyas, doing dandavats and weeping and begging for mercy, just to prepare to come. The point being is that all Vaishnavas advanced by the association of the mercy of senior Vaishnavas. They humbly serve, hear from, and beg from. This is the quality of looking for Vaishnava. Who is he serving and learning from? So, Sri Praying Prayojan served, studied Siddhanta, and received unlimited mercy from some very respected and advanced Vaishnavas. Srila Gauragovinda Maharaj, Srila Bhaktivinode Goswami Maharaj, our Guru, Srila Fakir Mohan Maharaj, Srila Bhaktivedanta Bharati Maharaj, Srila Vishnuji Sastri, and Srila Chutalal Bhakti Goswami, who a few fortunate souls who had the privilege of meeting in Moscow in the upcoming festival. But each of our spiritual quests is a personal journey of our hearts. Even if we recognize the Vaishnava as pure and elevated, doesn't mean we're personally deeply impacted and motivated to take darshan and hear and speak. But this is usually due to a lack of sukriti. Sukriti, pious credits, in case you don't know. But many years ago, I think it was 1986, I had the misfortune of not recognizing Srila Gauragovinda Maharaj. I was invited to his class, and I just did not have the sukriti. I just didn't get it. Didn't even stay. It's like a wasted life. So, but if I had somehow managed to just stay and hear just one class, maybe I would have gotten enough sukriti to stay. So I've regretted that for the last 20 years. But fortunately, by the time I met my Srila Gurudev, almost 20 years later, I had sukriti to recognize and appreciate. Now, I recognized my Guru by hearing from him Siddhanta that dispelled my doubts, illuminated my heart, and instilled faith. But most of all, when he spoke the glories of Sri Radha and Krishna and their sweet pastimes, I could hear the praying in his voice, see it in his face, see him overwhelmed by the bhavs while speaking of Lila Katha. And at that moment, by his mercy, we all felt the Bhava that we were just trying to. The shadows of those moods that he was experiencing, we would get a glimpse of. It was for us. It was probably more than we can handle anyway. And by his mercy, we all, now and then, hearing his Leelas, would shed a tear, Radha Krishna, and be blessed by that experience. But by all these things combined, we knew that he was the real Bhagavad. So my Gurudev always called on Sri Ramanujan more than anyone to speak. He said to save his breath, he would have him speak. He always trusted him and relied on him the most to speak for him, not just because he knew the Siddhanta inside and out and Leelas perfectly, and not only because he's always been a very charismatic and entertaining speaker, but because their hearts were one. Since then, for nearly 20 years, I've had the same experiences as I did with my Gurudev, with Prabhu. There's no difference for me. So I mentioned, I mentioned Bhagavad before, so I may be getting something wrong here. I'd be foolish when it comes to Siddhanta. But like Prabhu was saying before, if there's a man who's very rich, maybe he became rich somehow, and now he doesn't have any, all his friends don't have the money to do what he wants to do. He has no one to enjoy his wealth with. So maybe he'll give them high-paying jobs, maybe he'll just give them money, maybe he'll just pay their way, but he wants his friends that he loves with him. So it's like this for the Vaishnava. They will share their vows with us. They will work hard hard to teach us and to drag us down the river to try to keep up with that. So that maybe we'll be inspired to make this heroic and colossal effort it takes to become pure and experience it on our own, or with our God brothers and God sisters. So let's not have any regrets for any moments of this festival that we're not fully participating, fully attentive, and absorbed. Let's be alert, surrender at every second, and appreciate this opportunity to swim harder on the river Bhakti, and hold on to him and take us further than we can swim by his mercy.
Like a little lapel. The one that you have. Okay. I mean, yeah, no problem. For the speakers? Speakers or there? Train with the speakers too. Okay, go right now. Yeah, let's get it.
I'll be brief because but as we go through life, there are moments when everything changes. And we know those. And there are many. But there are some that are really, really important for me. They include somebody knocking on my door at the college I was at, and he had a bug as it is, and I was fortunate enough to buy it.
And I was fortunate enough to live near a temple in Oregon, and fortunate enough to join the Bhaktivinode bus party, and quickly, very, very fortunate that Srila Prabhupada to get take a picture from him. And that changed the whole trajectory of my life, because the pure devotee was so merciful to give me his mercy. And I have to say the same thing is true in my meeting with Sri Prabhupada, because my trajectory in life, by Prabhupada's mercy, had gone from sliding into a really bad place to the path of God. But in the time when we live, as we grow older, sometimes we may become a little stale or I don't want to use the word bored, but we lose our inspiration. And at a certain time in my life, I was so fortunate to actually hear the guitar of Persian Prabhu, who I've always felt so strongly in my heart is a direct has a direct connection to Srila Narayan Maharaj's guitar. And I was not so fortunate to have the sukriti to directly meet Srila Narayan Maharaj. But I wasn't ready. But as I became more seasoned in time, by the grace of the Parampara, I was able to meet Sri Prabhupada. And that was a life-changing event, because it took me from the path of Vaidhi Bhakti, the rules and regulations, and opened up my heart to Raga Bhakti, to Raga. You know, over the years, so many times we would talk about Srila Prabhupada and Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur and Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and we would talk about their exploits and things they were doing in this world. And it was the things they were doing in this world to preach. But when I heard from Prem Prabhu, I started understanding the things they're doing in another world, in the world with Radha and Krishna. And so that I could see deeply how my Gurudev he's descended directly from the groves of Vrindavan, where he's serving Sri Sri Radha Krishna. And by that, I'm eternally grateful for that opening my eyes. This is the power of kata coming from a devotee in the line of disciplic succession who is completely serving his Gurudev. And I simply want to say that it's so important for all of us to renew our Krishna consciousness. And we can renew it in association of devotees who are giving pure kata about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, about Radha and Krishna conjugal. And I'd just like to say, thank you very much. You've changed my life. And that's really important. For me, and maybe for someone else I meet, who I could give Krishna consciousness to. So, Jai Srila Gurudev.
Jai.
Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivinode Swami Iti Namini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Prashchakara Shatarini. So this is an unprepared speaking, and I am feeling so wonderful to be here on the Divine Appearance Day of Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur. And our relationship with Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur is so, so very important. And how does that bring us to Sriman Prem Prayojana Prabhu? Because he has dedicated his words, he has dedicated his life to presenting the Vaishnava Siddhanta all over the world. He has dedicated himself, as Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur did, to presenting what is Abhasiddhanta, what is not proper following. So he has become very dedicated to giving, as Srila Prabhupada said, Bhagavad Gita as it is. So he is dedicated to giving the Vaishnava teaching as it is. But he's a person, so everyone was speaking person, so I can say in my own life, many of you know me for many years. I've just done my service and served Radha Golokananda and my Gandharika Giri Hari. And as we engage in the process of devotional service day in and day out, and we do our chanting and we associate with devotees, sometimes a desire will grow within the heart. A desire will grow in the heart. And we're thinking, what is this desire? And who can I speak with about this desire? So when we have that desire for sadhu sangha, when we have that desire to hear properly, to come closer in our service to Radha and Krishna, then out of nowhere, a representative comes. So for me, Prem Prayojana coming was like Krishna playing his flute. Like Krishna playing his flute, and you kind of just forget what you're doing and kind of go crazy for a little while and run out the door and go flying off to Vrindavan and go on Brajamandala Parikram. And I'd like to speak some about that, because for many years I was engaged at the temple doing the service, and all the devotees would be going on Brajamandala Parikram, but I had my responsibilities. I couldn't leave the temple to go. And then I got older, and I thought, how will I ever do this? So then Prem Prayojana in 2014, he was visiting Nikoloka, and him and Srila said, "Why don't you come with us on Prajnana program?" And I was very nervous. How will I ever do this? How will this ever happen? So I got there, and I went to see him in his house, which was his spiritual abode, which was right on the Yamuna, across from Sanatana Goswami, Madan Mohan. And he told me, "May the gentle breezes of the Yamuna take away all of your anxieties." So then he sent his dear brahmachari, Siddhi Mahiti, and said, "Take care of her." So this very nice brahmachari, he just took care of me and took me. I went with them all over Vrindavan. So we went all over Vrindavan, and Prabhupada took me to all the wonderful holy places, and there was such beautiful katha. And as Drishta was saying, it's like a key. There's a whole world there, but the doors kept locked. And then he kind of opens that door and invites you. Don't just stay on the outside of the jar. There's honey within. So Prabhupada is just, he's a person, and he's so kind and so caring, and I feel very grateful that he went out of his way to just fly here for 1 week to Miami and to hear, to encourage the devotees and to see how everybody was doing in their devotional life. So I encourage everyone, just listen. Listen with an open heart. Prabhupada is non-sectarian. His only mood is to help everyone love Radha and Krishna. That's his only mood, it's his only desire. And for myself, as Drishta said, I have benefited greatly. I'm not the best example of how someone can benefit. Someone that had better qualities would have benefited greatly, but I'm doing the best I can, and very, very thankful. And that all of you can come today and be part of this wonderful experience. So just come with us, come to Vrindavan, and open your heart and dance and sing and hear the beautiful guitar. Thank you.
Jai. Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Hari Hari Bol.
Manohara Radhe Rasikamam Kripani Swayachayam Karinkuru Tasmi Tavayasmi
Najivami Tvayamana Jivityaya Devi Tvam Namam Chantikam. First of all, I offer my sustained Dandavat Puspanjali, my heart like flowers thousands and thousands of times, at the lotus feet of my holy master, my supremely worshipable spiritual Gurudev, Asmati Paramaradhatama, Guru Pada Padma, Nitya Leela Parvisht Om Vishnupad, Ashtotara Satasvi, Rupanugacharya Varya, Srila Bhaktivinode Narayan Goswami.
Jai.
Secondly, I offer my pranam thousands of times at the lotus feet of my Param Gurudev and to Srila Prabhupada and to all of our Sri Rupanuga Gaudiya Guru Parampara. And finally, I offer my pranam to all the assembled Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis Vanchakalpa.
Trivyacha Kripasindhu Devicha Kritanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavyo Namaha. Jai.
Today, we are so blessed, so fortunate to observe the divine appearance day of Saptam Goswami Sachidananda Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur. Namo Bhaktivinodaya
Sachidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanuga Varayate.
We bow down to Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur. He is the Gaura Shakti Swarup, manifestation in this world of the full mercy of Sri Gadadhar Pandit. Rupanuga Varayate, and the best among the Rupanuga, those who are following Rupa Goswami outwardly, and Sri Rupa Manjari internally are called Rupanuga. Today is his divine appearance day. He was born in the village of Ulagram in the mid-19th century. He went to Calcutta, where he studied at university. And he was very, very close to the Tagore family. In fact, one of his student friends was Rabindranath Tagore, who received the Nobel Prize for Literature. So in his youth, he was a part of the Badalok, very high-class intellectual, the intelligentsia of Bengal, who were discovering so many new things, new ways of expression in art and literature and music. So even when he was a young student, he published his first book, Paryadi. Paryadi was an epic English poem describing the adventures of the Vedic king Porus and how he was in battle with Alexander the Great, and that he was already fascinated from his childhood by this meta-narrative of the interaction between the Vedic culture of the East and the seat of the Western culture was ancient Greece. So he wrote this epic poem, the Paryadi, when he was a young student in English. He became involved with the Brahmo Samaj, but he was not satisfied with them. Because although they were dedicated to purifying so many misconceptions and social problems which had become mixed up in Hinduism, but at their root they were impersonalists. He studied Christianity and he thought, oh, Christianity is superior to the philosophy of this Brahmo Samaj, because even though they're trying to observe Vedic culture, they're following the conception of demons, Mayavad. If you look at the history of the world, from Hiranyakashipu to Ravan, and Kamsa Maharaj, they're all Mayavadis, impersonalists. So impersonalism is the philosophy of Asuras, because they very vehemently deny that reality is a personality. So gradually, he came to discover the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita and was very inspired by the teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When he was young, his father passed away and he had to take responsibility for his family. So he went to law school and he became a district deputy magistrate. He moved to Orissa and lived in the village of Chotimangalpur. And there he inherited that village, the land there was owned by his grandfather. And there he inherited the deity which had been in his family for 500 years, since the time of Nityananda Prabhu. And that deity was Sri Radha Madhava Ki Jai. So he has written that beautiful bhajan, Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, to his deity. After some time, because the government at that time, it was the British government, they posted him in Jagannath Puri to be the magistrate there. And they also appointed him to be in charge, overseeing the Jagannath temple. He was married and he had 13 children. So you can just imagine how his life was very busy. Being in charge of the administration of the Jagannath temple, having a job during the day as a magistrate, taking care of his wife and 13 children. He would take rest at about 10 o'clock at night and sleep only for a few hours, waking up just after midnight. Then he would chant not less than 64 rounds and write his beautiful poems, beautiful Vaishnava songs containing the essence of all Siddhanta. And then he would do that from midnight until about 5 o'clock. Then he would take a little breakfast and then set off and work. Then he would work all day, and when he came back from work, then he would tell his son, Bimala Prasad, oh, now I'm going preaching. And Bimala Prasad, who later became our Prabhupada Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur, carrying Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu underneath his arm, he would follow his father out in the evening to make a Namahata programs, meeting with people here and there in their homes, just as we are meeting together today. We are only carrying on that tradition of Namahata, the marketplace of the holy name. And so he would preach and then come home and again take rest at 10 o'clock. This was his life. A very disciplined. Fully dedicated. In complete alesh, complete absorption. He met his Gurudev, Sri Bipinabihari Goswami. When he was, Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur was actually 42 years old. That time his Gurudev was only 30 years old. But he was very renowned and learned scholar, and very prominent among the Goswamis of Bhatnapara, on the other side of the Ganges from Navadvip, from the Mayapur, nearby. So he received initiation and he began to write, appreciating his writings. All the Goswami community of Bhatnapara bestowed upon him the title Bhaktivinode, because his name was Kedarnath Datta. But appreciating his beautiful contribution to literature, all the Goswami community of Bhatnapara, they awarded him with the title Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur. And also the title Saptam Goswami, seventh Goswami. Why was that? Because for hundreds of years, the birthplace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had been lost. But Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur, he was wandering all over Navadvip, chanting the holy names, praying to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his heart revealed to him, where is Antadvip, Siddhmanta Dvip, Godrum Dvip, Manta Dvip, Kola Dvip, Ritu Dvip, Janu Dvip, Motadruma Dvip, Ruda Dvip, all the 9 islands, and what pastimes have taken place in each island, and the significance and the bhav of each island. Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur's divine experience of performing parikrama, he has described in Navadvip Bhava Taranga. How when he came to the place called the Arka Tirtha, he had darshan of the sun god. How when he came to in Rudadvip, he came to the place which is none different from Dir Samir. There he saw Lord Shiva dancing, because Gopeshwar Mahadev is the protector of the Rasalila. And by his mercy he entered and saw the Rasalila. And there, in one kunj, he saw Radha and Krishna. And he saw Bharana Tarit Basataravali Kamala Manjrim Nav Sarivara Varsha Satata Vayasa Swananda Sukata Dham. He saw a very beautiful young maidservant of Radha and Krishna, whose complexion was like lightning, whose cloth was dark and sparkling with stars like the night sky, who was 12.5 years old, who came with a tray on her hand with karpur, for karpur seva to Radha and Krishna, and whose residence was Swananda Sukhada Kunj, whose name was Kamala Manjari. It was himself when he was doing parikrama. So he has revealed how by the power of Guru Kripa and the Dham Kripa, the power of Harinam, Goranam and Goradam, he realized the sweet pastimes of Radha Krishna in Vrindavan and entered into their Nitya Nikunja Seva. He wrote so many poems, and he's been called the 7th Goswami because just as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave 4 aspects to his mission to the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. First of all, Lupta Tirtha Uddara, to discover the lost holy places in Braja. Then, Vigraha Prakash, to discover the lost deities of Vrindavan, Govind Gopinath Madan Mohan. Bhakti Grantha Pranayana, to compose scriptures describing the path of pure bhakti. And Vaishnav Sadarcha Stapana, to establish what is the proper behavior for Vaishnavas in all different stages of life, whether they're brahmacharis, grihastha, vanaprastha, sannyas, or whatever position they have, social position they have. So, the 6 Goswamis together, they fulfilled these 4 aspects of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission in Brajmandal. But it was one person alone, Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur, who fulfilled the mission of discovering all the lost holy places, discovering the lost deities, such as Adokshat Vishnu, the deity that was worshipped by Jagannath Mishra and later by Mahaprabhu when Jagannath Mishra passed away. To make the Bhakti Grantha Pranayan manifest, the Bhakti Granthas, which are just suitable for the mentality of the persons in this contemporary age. And Vaishnav Sadhya Stapana. You can see in his Chaitanya Shikshamrita how he's explained exactly what are our responsibilities depending on our social position in ashram in the modern time. Even our responsibility in relation to people of other religions like Islam and Christianity. These details were not there in the Vedic literature. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur was the first one to address all of these things, which are very important to people today. Especially he wrote so much about Harinam, the power of the holy name, and how to overcome the 10 offenses. He has written this especially in Jaiva Dharma, Bhajan Rahasya, Sri Harinam Chintamani, and other works. He took the essence of all the important literature in our Sampradaya and rewrote it in a song version. For example, he has written songs, 1 or 2 songs even, about each verse of Shikshastakam, about each verse of Manashiksha, about each verse of Rupa Goswami's Namastakam, Raghunath Das Goswami's Manashiksha. In this way, he has translated the songs of the Goswamis and expanded upon them in very simple language that makes their deep barbs more accessible to everyone. He has given the essence of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu and Ujjwal Nilamani in his songs of Kalyana Kalpatru and Gitamala, and in Jaiva Dharma also. Jaiva Dharma is his main masterpiece. If you want to go deeply into bhajan, then you must carefully study Jaiva Dharma. It has essentially 3 parts. The first third of the book addresses what is the meaning of Dharma. That is the ontology, the teleology. The teleological purpose of the soul is only Krishna Prem. We exist to love God and serve God. And so it is Jaiva Dharma. The teleological purpose of every soul is simply to love God. But sometimes the expression of that service becomes mixed with some material conceptions. And so the Dharma is no longer pure. It becomes mixed with karma, jnana, and yoga, and so on. And becomes mixed with the local customs. In this way, there is a proliferation of so many different faiths. But in truth, there is only one Dharma. Prem, Bhagavad Dharma, Shuddha Bhakti. So he established this in a very revolutionary way. Because previous acharyas, no one had written in the genre of the novel. The novel was a new literary genre to India. And he wrote in that genre. In the middle part, there you have the explanation of Dashamul Shiksha. The one verse, and in that one verse, the 10 teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all in one verse. So all devotees should know it. Do you know it? Amnaya praha tattam varimhya paramam sadavasaktim rasabdhim tadvinam sangscha jivam prakriti kavalitam tadvimuktam scha bhavad Veda Veda prakasham sakalim api harir sadhanam sudha bhaktim sadhyam tat pritim medet upadishati janan gaura chandra swayam saha. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally instructed this to his followers. That there are two things, Praman and Prameya. Praman means valid evidence. And Prameya, the things which are proven by that valid evidence. So the Praman Tattva, the valid evidence, the only way in which we can receive perfect knowledge is called Amnaya. Amnaya means Guru Parampara Dwara Prapta Veda Vakya. The statements of the Vedas which are received in the Sri Guru Parampara, the succession of perfected saints, going back all the way to Brahma and to Krishna himself. This is the only way to receive perfect knowledge. So this is Praman. And then this is the first teaching. And then there are 9 Prameyas. 9 things which are proven by that Praman. First one, Paramatattva is not Brahman, the light of Brahman. Or Paramatma. But Paramatattva is Bhagavan Sri Krishna. Paramatma and Brahman are only partial realization of the truth. And then the second teaching, the second Prameya, is that Sri Krishna is Sarva Shaktiman. He has all Shaktis. Bahiranga Shakti, the external energy, Maya. Antaranga Shakti, the spiritual world, the spiritual potency. And Tasta Shakti, the Jivas. But he's not only omnipotent, but he's also Rasamdhin. He's the ocean of rasa. All rasas, all the flavors of ecstatic love. He is the object. And also the shelter is the Visha and Ashray of all the rasas. Then, next one, Tadvidangsam Jivam. The Jivas are Vibhinangs Tattva. That means they are subjective portions, answers, subjective separated portions of the Supreme Lord, specifically coming from his Tatastha Shakti. And there are 2 types. So the next teaching is Baddha Jivas. The conditioned souls are Prakriti Kavalitan. They are covered by Maya. Then they are Nitya Baddha. Those are being conditioned from time with no beginning. Then Nitya Mukta. There are those who have always been liberated. Then Tadvimukta Nistha Bhavat. Then Beda Beda Sakalam Api Hari. All of the Shaktis of the Lord, whether the spiritual or the material or the living entities, they are inconceivably bathed, different, and also obeyed, non-different from him. Achintya Beda Beda Tattva. So in this way, in 7 Prameyas, the Sambandha Gyan, the knowledge of Sambandha, our context and relationship with God and His energies has been defined. Then the Abhideya Tattva, the process. Sadhanam Shuddha Bhakti. The sadhana, the practice is Shuddha Bhakti. Not Bhakti mixed with karma, jnana or yoga. And even the sadhana is not Vaidhi Bhakti. Because Krishna in Vrindavan cannot be attained by Vaidhi Bhakti. Vaidhi Bhakti leads to Vaikuntha. So Shuddha Bhakti means Raganuga Bhakti. And the goal of life is not Krishna, or Radha, or even Radha and Krishna. Sadhyam Tat Pritim. The goal of life is love. Priti. Love is so powerful, it controls even Radha and Krishna. So these are the 10 teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in a nutshell. They're called Dasamul. It means 10 roots. Mul means root. If you will take these roots into your heart and deliberate upon them deeply, the roots will grow. When roots in the ground grow, they become grass. And then a cow will come and eat them and turn them into milk. And then Amritanam Prabhu will will milk the cow. And from that milk he'll make ghee. And then that ghee will be mixed with a deep, with a wick. And it will be put on a panch pradeep and lit, and then Radha and Krishna's lotus feet will be worshipped with the light from that. 5 rasas. Illuminate and worship the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna. So, it begins with the Dashamul Shiksha, understanding clearly these teachings. After some time, it will become the brain which illuminates the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna. So that is the middle part of Jaiva Dharma. In the middle part, it concludes with the glories of the holy name. How to overcome 10 offenses and chant. And then the third part is just Rasa Tattva. Understanding what is Bhakti Rasa. How sadhan Bhakti becomes Bhava Bhakti and Bhava Bhakti becomes Rasamaya Bhakti. It follows the lives of 2 devotees, Vijay Kumar and Brajanath, and how they meet their Diksha Guru and receive Diksha. And later they come to their Shiksha Guru. And as they become more and more purified, they become qualified for Manasik Seva, Raganuga Bhakti. Very wonderful. So Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur explains exactly what is the qualification and how to enter into meditation and service to Radha Krishna in one spiritual form. Not so easy. When Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur was traveling here and there, once from Navadvip he set out and he went to Vrindavan, Brajmandal, and he was doing parikrama. And during his parikrama, very close to Radha Kund, he came to Surya Kund. And there he met Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj. He was more than 140 years old at that time. Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur had met him before, earlier in Navadvip. But on this particular time, when he came to have the association of his Shiksha Guru, Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, at that time, there were some other Babajis who were staying with Jagannath Das Babaji as his Shiksha disciples. And they came to Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur to complain. Their complaint was this: we left our homes and our jobs and families, everything, to come here and be with Babaji Maharaj so that we can engage in Astakaliya Leela Smarna, serving Radha Krishna in their Nitya Leela 24 hours a day. But now we are here. Babaji Maharaj has not told us how to do it. But rather he told us to chop wood, to bring water, to water the garden, to plant brinjal, eggplants. They said, look, if we wanted to grow eggplants in the garden, we could have stayed at home and done that. So why have you left everything and come here? So Bhaktivinode Thakur said, whatever Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj tells you to do, you should do that. Vaishnava Seva is transcendental. It may appear to be similar to something that you have done in your home. But when you are serving a Vaishnava, now you are coming under the shelter of Krishna's internal potency. Mahatmanastu mamparta daivim praktimashrita. Though a Vaishnava appears to be in this world, they are not in this world. Though everyone in this world is under the stringent laws of karma, Vaishnava is under the control, under the shelter of Krishna's internal potency. So when you take shelter of the guidance of a pure Vaishnava, now you also become free from the influence of Maya, from all karma, and come under the control of the internal potency. So Vaishnava Seva is not an ordinary activity. And gradually by serving Vaishnavas, what will happen? Nashta Preshu, Abhadreshu, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, Bhagavati Utamashloke, Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Abhadreshu, that means inauspicious things. Specifically, it means Namaparad. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, you are not chanting purely. And without chanting, without overcoming Namaparad, you will never be able to enter into this smaran, continuous remembrance of Radha and Krishna. But by serving a Mahabhagavad Vaishnava every day and hearing Srimad Bhagavatam from them every day, your anarthas and Namaparads will be destroyed and gradually you will become qualified. Everyone knows what is the qualification for Raganuga Bhakti. The only qualification,
Greed.
Lobha, greed.
Krishna Bhakti.
Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavitamati Pritam Yadi Kutopilabhete Tatsuloyam Apimula Koti Jani Sukritarna Alabhete. If you want your heart to be fully saturated with rasa, like a rasagola which has been soaked in the syrup for at least 48 hours, and if you take out that rasagola, anywhere you touch it, rasa comes out. If you squeeze, more rasa comes out. And still, when you open it, there's still more rasa. So if you want your consciousness to be like that, saturated with pure rasa, then there's a price. If it's available anywhere, you should purchase it without delay. But what is the price? Tatuloyam Pimula Vekam. Oh, greed. Koti Janma Sukritana Labhate. Even by, here it means, even by practicing Vaidhi Bhakti for millions of births, it's not available. So now you know what is the price to attain Raganuga Bhakti. Only loyam, greed. But the problem is, how do you get greed? Where does the greed come from? So there's a great confusion among Vaishnava community, and there's a lot of hysteria around the subject of Raganuga Bhakti. Because it's about greed, and greed means to be hysterical, right? No. Be very calm. What is greed? Srila Vishwacharya Thakur, in his Ragavatma Chandrika, he said greed begins from Gurupad Ashray, where we take shelter of a Braj Rasik Vaishnava, one who is actually Rasik and realized. From the moment we take shelter of them, some greed starts to come. That greed means Bhagavad Leela, Bhagavad Madhurya, Leela Madhurya Lobamai Shraddha. The faith which is based upon a greed to relish the Madhurya, the sweetness of Krishna's pastimes. So Bhagavad Leela, Madhurya Lobamai Shraddha. So this is the beginning of greed. But this beginning is not enough to be able to take up the sadhana of Raganuga Bhakti. And that greed gradually grows. Srila Vishwacharya Thakur said, Abhista Vastu Sakshat, until you have in your heart the darshan of what it is you want to attain. And he quotes the verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, Yataya Tatma Parimrjate So Madguna Kata Shavada Vidane Tata Tata Pasati Vastu Sukshmam Chakshuryatai Vanjana Samprayoktam. See, Krishna described to Uddhav, Yataya Tatma Parimrjate So. The heart is like a mirror, and you have to clean it by hearing and chanting. And the more it becomes cleansed by hearing it, Matguna Kata Shravana Vidane, hearing about my form and qualities and pastimes, then Tata Tata Pasati Vastu Shukshmam, the more you can begin to see me. Krishna said. Just like a person has an eye disease, so the Ayurvedic doctor, Chakshuryatai Vanjana Sampraktam, the Ayurvedic doctor smears some ointment upon the patient's eyes. And before, when he looked at the book with small print, could not see and everything was blurred. But by the application of this ointment, then he looked, and even very small print he could see. He could see the subtle markings on the page. So Sri Krishna is saying this. As we go on hearing and chanting and remembering, the heart becomes cleansed, and then Krishna said, you can see my form, which is very subtle. Mat bhava anuttamam. Krishna in Bhagavad Gita said, my form is very, very subtle. So, greed does not mean, oh, I have become hysterical now. I am really, really interested and enthusiastic to do Raganuga Bhakti, therefore I am qualified. But greed is a real thing, based on internal experience. As the heart is cleansed and one begins to realize in the stage of Nishtha, see Krishna's form and qualities in Ruchi, his associates, and his sweetness. Then seeing this in the heart at the time of chanting, they want, oh, how the associates are serving. I want to be like them. Now you can take up the sadhana of Raganuga Bhakti. So Srila Vishnu Thakur, after describing that greed begins its development from Guru Padasray, taking shelter of a Rasit Guru, and develops up to the stage of seeing what is your Ishtavastu, the object that you want. And then he said, Udbhute tadrishe lobhe. Once greed has developed up to that point, not the beginning point, it's completed the development up to that point of seeing one's Ishtavastu, what it is you want to attain. Now a person is very inquisitive. Now I have seen it, how do I attain it for myself? Now Raganuga Bhakti comes. Krishnam smaran janam chasya prastam nija sanihitam. Remember Krishna along with an associate. So in that stage, devotees can chant Harinam and in his heart see Krishna along with the associate, and they're focusing on that associate. And by focusing on the moods of that associate, those moods gradually come to him, and his chitta transforms and takes on a form just like the associate. Then you can follow the next verse of instruction in Raganuga Bhakti. Rupa Goswami said, Seva sadhaka rupena siddha rupena chatrahi. Serve outwardly, following your acharyas, and serve inwardly, following the eternal associates of Braja. So this is the process. If the Siddha Deya is not a kalpana, an imagination, vikalpa, imagination, it will appear of its own accord due to absorption in remembering. That means seeing in a spurti in one's heart how the associates are serving. It will arise of its own accord. Just like a telkata, a small worm trapped in a hole by a bee, is terrified. And he sees the bee coming to eat him. And the bee is making a loud vibration, but he cannot get in the hole. And Srila Narad Muni, he said, Kita peshaskita rodha kudyam tamanusmaram samramba yogena vinate tat sarupatam. Just as the small worm in the hole is trapped by the bee and becomes absorbed, so then that worm being absorbed in the bee transforms and becomes himself a bee. So in the same way, by Krishna Smaran Janam Chasya, being absorbed in the Smaran, and Smaran means this spurti in the heart of the associates of Radha and Krishna, then being absorbed in them, you will become just like them. And in this way, the Siddha Roop appears and you can serve. And if you try to do it artificially by speculation, vikalpa, then Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur in Bhajan Rahasya, he said that adhikara nala vive siddhate abhavi viparya bodhi janmi shakti abhave. If you don't attain the qualification, that is asakti, the stage of, in ruchi you can see the associates in your heart, and then asakti will come, and then there is abhas of your siddha deya, the first shadow of your swarup appears. But if you will try to imitate, prakrita sahaja means imitation, then you don't have the support of swarup shakti. Then what will happen? Viparyaya buddhi. your intelligence will become bewildered. And instead of becoming more and more free from avidya, ignorance, asmita, ego, raga and dvesh, attachment and aversion, abhinivesh, absorption in this world, you'll become bewildered and become more absorbed in this world, more ego. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur instructed those disciples of Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, don't think his service is an ordinary thing, just serve him, hear from him, gradually your nartas will be dissipated, and by his mercy you can enter into the Nitya Seva of Radha and Krishna. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur very much protected the path of Raganuga Bhakti through his writings. Srila Jiva Goswami has also said very beautifully that what is Raganuga? Rag means the spontaneous attraction of the sense to its object. If there's a room full of people, but one of them is exquisitely beautiful, then without even thinking, your eyes will go to that person. Because the eye spontaneously seeks out beauty without any calculation, without volition, without any intentional application of the intelligence. Just the senses just go there. So that is called rag. So when all the senses have as their only object of rag the Nam, Rup, Gun and Leela of Krishna, that is called transcendental rag. And that rag exists only in the Nitya Siddha, the eternal associates, the Nitya Parikas of Radha and Krishna in the spiritual world. It is not here. But if a disciple is listening with great honor and great faith to the beautiful pastimes of Radha and Krishna from the lips of his Gurudev, then a spurti will come, a vision in his heart, and he will see, oh, how beautiful, how Rupa Manjari is serving Radha and Krishna. And when is the rag of that associate, let's say Rupa Manjari, that rag is glowing like the moon. And just as the moon is shining in the sky, and a chandrika, a moonbeam, shines on a crystal, and that crystal now becomes illuminated. That's called a spatika mani. So in the same way, the disciple's heart, which is become purified, Chaito Darpanamarjanam, purified by Harinam Sankirtan. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So the disciple's heart, like a spatik mani, is like a crystal, and hearing the pastimes of the beautiful associates of Radha Krishna, their rag, like the moon, shines, and that ray of their rag illuminates the heart of that disciple. And his heart becomes, that crystal becomes ulasit, expanded, shining, overflowing with joy. And now, he's chanting. Not because someone told him to chant. He's not chanting because scripture says you have to chant, otherwise you'll go to hell. But he's chanting spontaneously because he has some taste, ruchi in the rag, some taste in those feelings emanating from that associate. Then the hearing, chanting and remembering, which is initiated by, which is instigated by a taste in their feelings, that is called Raganuga Bhakti. So it's real. It's not imagination. It's not something hysterical. It's not just a fascination or an interest. But one has to experience this. We can, if we serve our Gurudev and follow his teachings, after some time, we can realize it directly. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur was always protecting the path of bhakti. Before Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur came to this world, there was a great necessity for his appearance. Because after Srila Narottam, Srinivas and Shyamananda, many apasampradayas are spread everywhere. Aul, Baul, Kartabhaja, Nera, Darad, Beshasai, Sahajya, Saki Bhetki, Smarta Jap Gosai, Atibadi, Chudadari, Goranga Nagari, Totako Hi Ei Tera Sangi Nahi Kare. 13 apasampradayas, Aul, Baul, Goranga Nagari. and they had spread everywhere. And it was very difficult to discover pure bhakti. Just as the Ganges came to heaven, but it did not came down to heaven, but it did not come to earth. So then Bhagarath Maharaj, he did austerities, and he brought the Ganges flowing down to this earth. So in the same way, the current of Shuddha Bhakti had been almost stopped completely at the time before Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is like the Bhagarath Maharaj, who brought the current of pure bhakti again flowing throughout the whole world, all the way to North Carolina even. So, when Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur was in Orissa, there was one yogi, very powerful yogi named Bishkishan. He was staying in the forest, and he had told everyone, I am Mahavishnu. And he wrote a poem that on this particular day, then I will rise up and show my purpose. That means all the British who were controlling India, that they would have a revolution, overthrow them. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur was working in the government of the British then, and they sent him to try to investigate this case. So this yogi, Bishkishan, that's the way that his name was Visvaksen, but that's the way they say Bishkishan. So he had said, I am Supreme Lord, and so all very beautiful young girls from the local villages should come to me at night and we will have Rasa Lila. And he had violated, he had compromised the character of so many young girls in the villages in Orissa. And their husbands and parents, they were furious. And they had complained to the police. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he wanted to solve this problem. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur went there and told him, I want to be lenient and give you a chance. So, within 12 days, you should recant. You should disavow. You should say, I am not Mahavishnu, I am not Krishna, I cannot do Rasalila, I will not try to overthrow the government. Within 12 days. But if you don't, then I will have to arrest you and you will be prosecuted. That yogi said, I know you. By my mystic power I knew you are coming. You are Bhaktivinoda Thakur. But I am the Supreme Lord. No one can stop me. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, I have given you a chance. You have 12 days. So then he went away. After 12 days, Bishkishan, he did not disavow. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur came with so many policemen. And they surrounded him. And he told the police, arrest this person. But when they came to arrest him, Bishkishan had very long, matted locks, jata. And he shook his head like this, and his jata went everywhere, and fire was coming out from his hair. And those policemen, they dropped their sticks and their guns and ran away. They were terrified. They thought, he really is God. But Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur was not afraid. And alone, he grabbed him by the hair and took scissors and cut off his jata. Cut off all of his locks. He was storing his yoga shakti in his hair. Cut off his locks and arrested him and put him in jail. So then, they were waiting for the court case. So on the night before the court case, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur was in intense pain in his stomach. And all of his family became sick. His wife was crying, oh, that yogi has cursed us, he will kill us all. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, don't worry, just chant all the names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. If you chant all the name, then no karma can touch you, no devatas can touch you, no yogis, no curse, no mantra, tantra, or voodoo, or anything can touch you if you take shelter of the holy name. So somehow he survived through that night, and the next day he went to the court case. So when they were in court, then the yogi was smiling. He said, "Oh, do you remember what I did to you last night? That was me. So if you don't let me free, I'll kill you." Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur never listened to him, and he sentenced him to a lenient sentence, only a few years in jail. So then he was put in jail, and that yogi fasted completely. And after 21 days, Ram Nam Satyahe, he passed away. So in this way, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur very strictly protected Dharma. He was very active in society to protect Dharma. In Jaiva Dharma, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has described all the Siddhantas from beginning to end. The basic tattvas, Nam Tattva and Rasa Tattva, and the bhajan, confidential bhajan, secrets of bhajan. But he's described them in a general way, in principle. But in his book, Bhajan Rahasya, he's actually revealed his own method of bhajan. The verses that he himself used to chant and meditate upon. In the middle of the night, he would be chanting the holy name, then he would stop and then sing a verse and then chant again and become lost in the realization of the nectar of those verses. So the very verses that Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur meditated on as he was having his pastime of going through the stages, Nishta, Ruchi, Asakti, Bhav and Prem, he has given in Bhajan Rahasya. So I remember when my Gurudev was... Oh, does everyone have that book, Bhajan Rahasya? Do you have the edition of by my Gurudev? Because it has a very extensive commentary also. So I was with my Gurudev when he was writing his commentary. Every morning I would go in his room when he was chanting, in samadhi, in trance. And then he would coming out of trance. Not like completely out, only Ardha Bhayadasha, that means half in trance and half out of trance. I brought one new devotee to him. He was already devoted from Buddhism. Who is he? Gurudev. His name is Mahabhav. Gurudev's eyes became big. Mahabhav. Later he became Krishna Karunya, very famous devotee of Guru. So, that time Gurudev said, as I am writing this commentary on Bhajan Rahasya of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, I am realizing how Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in the form of Kamala Manjari is relishing all of these verses. So you should understand this commentary is a completely realized knowledge. So if you want to do bhajan, read Jaiva Dharma thoroughly from beginning to end and then take shelter of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Bhajan Rahasya. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur was very, very generous, very, very liberal. He invited persons from all walks of life to participate in his preaching and his publications. But later, some persons misinterpret him to be actually accommodating things other than pure bhakti. And this is why in the next generation, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur gave two very, very vital, important contributions to this world. Mayapur, the discovery of the birthplace of Mahaprabhu, and Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Yes. So because he was very generous and very liberal and very accommodating, in order to spread a broad net and invite everyone into the family of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, some persons took it that he will accommodate things other than Shuddha Bhakti. And this is why in the next generation, Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur had to tighten up the screws a little bit. Understand? So, I want to speak little about Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur's transition towards the end of his life, when he accepted Babaji Vesh and was doing his Nirjan Bhajan at the end of his life. He has written, when he retired, he left the preaching in Calcutta and came to Jagannath Puri. So he wrote, a person may ask me, why have I left that place, that center of the academic study and the company of the intelligentsia in Calcutta to come and be alone in Jagannath Puri? The reason is this. When I first set out on this mission to serve Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and I began to write the magazine Sajjan Toshani, the effect was tremendous. It was beyond my expectations. We saw that those who were confused about it, they were practicing bhakti, but they were confused. They came into the line of pure bhakti, being attracted by the splendor of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's message. Not only that, but atheistic persons who were intellectuals, they became devotees also and joined this preaching movement. He made a movement called the Navadip Dham Pracharini Sabha. That was a group for the development of Navadip Dham. Navadip Dham Pracharini Sabha. He said even Mayavadis, they also came and joined us, and they took pleasure now in the path of pure bhakti. Even musicians interested in music, they joined us, and they were relishing the beautiful songs glorifying the Supreme Lord. You know, there's one Apasampradaya, one sect called the Baals, and they're very expert at singing. They travel everywhere, they have long hair, and they're like hippies, they go everywhere and sing songs about bhakti, but really they don't follow any proper bhakti principles or anything. They smoke ganja and it's like a spiritual Woodstock, you know. So, but not spiritual, pseudo-spiritual. So, but their music is very popular. So Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur even wrote a songbook under a pseudonym called Chanda, a collection of songs by Chanda Baal in the Baal Sangeet style. But these songs were all full of the moods of pure bhakti. So in this way, he was tricking everyone by hook or by crook and bringing them into the shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's lotus feet. So Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur said, I could not believe my eyes. It was wonderful and beyond my expectations. But after some time, just when it was going so nicely, then all the Apasampradayas who had hidden themselves like glowworms hide themselves from the light of the sun, they began to crawl out again. And they began to infest the association. And all the Apasampradayas which I had driven back, they began to rise up again. And I was devastated. I thought, what can I do? I went to Navadip Dham and prayed to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But even there I could not find solace. So then I left Navadip and I came here to Jagannath Puri. And weeping I rolled around in the golden sand of the beach of Jagannath Puri. Alas, alas! This movement of Mahaprabhu, again it's becoming choked. And just then, I heard the words of Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur in my heart. Kala Kali Balini Indriya Vairi Vaga Sri Bhakti Maga Hiyakanta Kakoti Rudha Aha Kwayami Vikala Kimaham Karomi Chaitanya Chandra Yadi Nadya Kripam Karosi. Kala Kali Balina Indriya. Now it is the time of Kali Yuga. Balina Indriya Vairivaga. And my enemies, the senses, have become very strong. Sri Bhakti Marga here, Kantaka or Koti Ruta, and the path of pure bhakti has become overgrown with thousands of thorns. Alas, alas. Aha, Koyami Dukala, my heart is breaking. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Kimaham Karomi, what will I do now? Chaitanya Chandra Yadi Nadiyad kripam karhusi. If you will not give mercy to me now, what will I do? This is the meaning of Acharya. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is rolling on the ground and crying in the sand, in the golden sand of Jagannath Puri, weeping. For whom? For you. For you. For me. This is Acharya. So as he was weeping in this way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared to him and said, "Oh Sajjan Toshani, hey Thakur Bhaktinod, now you cannot do anything. The conditioning of the living entities in Kali Yuga is very strong. Their karmas from thousands of lifetimes, even when they try to take up the path of bhakti, but then again their previous samskars start to rise up and overpower them. They're very weak. Even if you speak so much Harikatha, it will bounce off their hearts because they have other desires, anya bilas. So now is not the time. Now you should sit here and pray for their deliverance by singing the holy names of Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. By the power of your chanting, it will purify the world. Yasam Harikatut Gitam Punati Bhuvanatrayam, Uddhav said, when the gopis chant the glories of Krishna, it purifies the three worlds. And the living entities will develop some sukriti, by which they will gradually come to the path. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur was staying in Puri and weeping and chanting loudly. And by his prayers, he called the descent from the spiritual world of so many great personalities. Nija Sevaka Taraka Ranji Vidum Vidudarpita Hunkata Sinnabaram Varnagata Balisha Sandapadam Pranamami Sada Prabhupada Padam. Srila Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur is like a shining moon surrounded by the stars. The stars are not new, they are eternally the associates of the moon. So by the weeping of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, though Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur had already appeared in this world, but some other stars appeared around him, like Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami, Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Madhav Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Vilas Tirtha Maharaj, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur was crying there and made them all from the spiritual world rain onto this world. And after that there was explosion of bhakti everywhere. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki Jai. In 1915, in the summer of 1915, just before Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur left this world, he spoke very privately with our Jagat Guru Prabhupada Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur. And we know this because there is one letter of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur. After Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur had left the world, then his Navadip Dham Pracharini Sabha was going on. And Lalit Prasad, he was leading this. And his Srila Bhima Prasad, that's our Prabhupada, he was also there. But some disagreement came about. And others in the group, they did not properly understand the teachings of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur said, don't think that you can know the teachings of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur by reading his books. That will create an interest. That will create inquisitiveness. One can only know his teachings by giving submissive oral reception to the Shabda Brahma, the transcendental sound, as it appears on the lips of a Shuddha Vaishnava. Then you can know, otherwise not. Am vednesh ko veti vyasa veti na vetiva bhaktya bhagatam graham napujayat najatika. Lord Shiva said, I may know Srimad Bhagavatam, Shukadeva Goswami may know. Whether Vyasadeva knows or not is not certain. But one thing is certain, and that is that The Bhagavatam is only known by pure bhakti flowing in the heart. Na buddhya, not by your intelligence. Na chati kaya, and not by reading the commentaries, the purports. Only by Shabda Brahma. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur himself wrote in English, he reasons ill who says that Vaishnavas die when thou art living still in sound. The Vaishnava dies to live, and living tries to spread the holy name around. So the pure Vaishnava is still living in sound. But if you take a book, then listen. I don't hear anything. Living in sound means living in the living sound that comes from the lips of pure Vaishnava. It can only come in sadhu sangha, the actual anubhuti, realization. Then you should hear first, then read, then deliberate on it, then bhakti will come. In the very end of Srimad Bhagavatam it is said, Tat Shrinvan Supatan Vicharana Paro Bhaktya Vimuchendra. First hear, then what you've heard, read it. Reading is called pat. But if you read after hearing, it's called supat, beautiful reading. Tat Shrinvan Supatan Vicharana. Then deeply, deeply meditate on what you have heard and what you have read. Paro Bhaktya Vimuchendra. Then pure bhakti will come and you will be liberated from Maya completely. So, after the disappearance of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, some problems came and the Apasampradayas were rising up even within the Navadip Dham Pracharini Sabha. So at that time, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur broke away and started the Gaudiya Math. And one of his friends who was still in the Pracharini Sabha was upset. Oh, why have you become a separatist? And you've gone to Mayapur and making your own mission and also criticizing us. Why? So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur wrote a letter to his old friend who was still in that previous institution. And he said, in the summer of 1915, just before the disappearance of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, I was sitting with him and he said these words to me. He said that within our Navadip Pracharini Sabha, the corrupted seed of the conception of Rupa Kaviraj, of the Ativadi Sampadaya, perhaps you know the history of Rupa Kaviraj. He was a leader of one Apasampradaya Ativadis at the time of Vishwacharya Thakur. Very learned, but he described Raganuga Bhakti but a misinterpretation of the practice. So, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, within our Sangha, the corrupted seed of the conception of Rupa Kaviraj, of the Ativadis, will sprout up. And it will turn into a snake. Just as a snake lives within the hollow of a tree, that snake will rise up in the hollow of the hearts of the devotees and bite them and poison their bhakti. Then, Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur said to Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, I promise you that if this ever happens, I will dedicate my whole life to stamp it out. To stop it. So, because the question was, why did you leave? And now you are preaching so strongly even against us. He said, oh, this is the reason. Because Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur had predicted this. And just before he left, I made this vow. I would stop the rise of the Apasampradayas within the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sangha in Navadip. So, in this way, then Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, peacefully, joyfully, he departed from this world, knowing that the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in very good hands. And the rest is history. How glorious and successful. Being completely empowered by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who with Gaura Shakti Swarup was completely empowered, and that mercy has come everywhere and is touching us today. So I want to conclude our discourse about Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur today by singing a couple of his songs and just discussing little what is nectar he has hidden for us in his songs. These songs are coming deep from his heart, from his realization, and they are impregnated with unlimited nectar. Just like the father has gone from this world but left a will for his child. And in the will it says, when you are 21 you will inherit all these gold coins and jewels in the treasure chest. But you are like, whatever, 10 years old and you cannot get anything. But you have to wait one day to come. So in the same way, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has kept so many beautiful jewels. All the pastimes of Srimad Bhagavatam, even the pastimes which are not in Srimad Bhagavatam, that he's realized as well. He's hidden them within his songs and kept them like jewels in his will for us. Those are the Anugadhyana of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Those are in the Vichadara, the current of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's conception. And all we have to do is follow our Gurudev, sing his songs every day, chant Harinam, and one day we'll come of age and the box will open and hold the jewels of the Nitya Nibritta Nikunja Seva to Radha Krishna will come into our hearts. So Srila Nityananda Prabhu, he has opened the marketplace of the holy name, giving Shuddha Naam to everyone, just at the price of your faith. And Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, I am a sweeper in the marketplace of the holy name. Because, see, Bhakti Margaya Kantaka Kotiruga, the path of Bhakti is covered in thorns. So how will people come to receive the pure name from Nityananda Prabhu? So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, by his life and by his writings, it is as if he has taken a broom and he is sweeping away the thorns. So the path into the marketplace of the holy name will become soft and smooth for all of us. My Param Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav, used to say, it is my only desire that birth after birth I can become just one straw in the broom of Srila Bhaktivinoda to assist him in that sweeping. So this is our desire today. Make that sankalpa in your heart, that in your whole life you can just be, because a broom needs many straws. So I can see there are many straws. So all come together, be tied together very tightly, and become the broom in the hand of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur to sweep the path, so that all can enter into the marketplace of the holy. So first we'll sing Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Ramani Shiromani. Can you set your tempo to C? So if you have a songbook, you can announce the phrase Ramani Shiromani by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Otherwise, you can look it up. Ramani Shiromani, if you type in KK songs, then all the songs of the Acharyas are online.
104 on the small one.
Little cartels.
Someone got something. Got some?
Little cartels.
I don't know where they are.
I have some big ones. Oh, you got them.
Oh, yes.
Page 80 in the black book.
Did they announce the page in the
104.
104 and
104 in the yellow book and 80 in the black book? The key jai.
Ramani Ramani Vrishabhanu Nandini Neelavasana Parida Rama Ramane Shirai Ramane Vrishabhanu Nandini Neelavasana Paridaya
in Swananda Sukhada Kunj. 1 o'clock in the morning, Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur is singing and weeping in the middle of the night. That house of Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur, where is it? In Godumdvip, Varsana is there. In Godumdvip, Nandagaon is also there. Yavat is also there. And in between Nandagaon and Yavat, there is Terkadamba. So just as Srila Rupa Goswami's Bhajan Kutir is in Terkadamba, Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur, Gaura Shakti Surupaya Rupa Anuga Varayate, being the supreme follower of Srila Rupa Goswami, is doing Bhajan Terkadamba of Navadvip, that is Swananda Sukhada Kunji Godvip. In the night time, he's singing this beautiful, beautiful song. And the Mahabhav Swarup of Radhika is manifesting before his divine eyes. Ramani, Shiramani. Of all the Ramani, that means those who make Sri Krishna relish the rasa of Raman, loving pastimes. The crest jewel of all of them, Ramani Shiramani, is one very sweet and beautiful princess, the daughter of King Vrishabhanu. She's not married to Krishna, but still, being overwhelmed with love, she forgets everything, sacrifices everything. And in the middle of the night, she's putting on Neela Basana Parihitana. It's a dark moon night. So she's dressing in a dark blue cloth, so that as she goes into the forest, Chinnaparata Jini, her body, which is shining like gold, is covered by a dark blue cloth. So when she sneaks out of her house in Yavat, no one will see her moving in the dark night. As Radhika is being wrapped in the dark blue cloth by Rupamanjari, Kamamanjari herself, Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur, then as Radhika feels the touch of this cloth, then her bhav is so gambhir. Why? Because Neela, it is the color of Shyam Sundar. And not only that, but when Sri Krishna stole the cloth of Srimati Radhika, Vastraharan Leela, when Krishna returned the cloth to the Brajagopis, now the cloth had become fragrant with the touch of his hand, which smells like agur. And when this cloth touches them, they feel as if Krishna himself, it is as if it is the touch of Sri Krishna. So Ramani, Shiramani, Vrishabhanu Nandi, Neelavasana Pardhan, that beautiful bluish cloth with the deep remembrance of Sri Krishna, feeling as if Krishna is touching her in anticipation of going to meet with him. Chinnapurattajini, Bana Vikasini, Bada Kavari Haripran. And her hair, Kavari means a ponytail. So hair, there are so many hairs and they are free, but then they become bound in a ponytail. Now they cannot move. So for Krishna, he sees every hair on the head of Radhika like his own pran. You know, in your body you have 72,000 nadis. So when we are fanning Srimati Radhika, then we think that each hair in the camera is one of our 72,000 nadis, and we worshipping Radhika with all our prans. So similarly, Krishna is thinking, oh, my pran is each hair on the head of Radhika. And Radhika is thinking, Haripada Nakakoti Prist Parayanta Simha Tatikalayantam Pranakote Rabistam. And Radharani thinks that the light emanating from the very tip of the edge of the toenail of Sri Krishna is more dear to her than her own prans. Badakavari Haripran. But now Hari's pran is bound. Why? Radharani's Mahabhav's opinion. When her hair is tight, that means she's in Mahan. Contrary mood. So at that time when Radhika is in a contrary mood and refusing to accept the advances of Sri Krishna, then Krishna feels like his prans are bound. But when in the loving pastimes her brain becomes open, now only then Krishna becomes, his pran is free. So Bhadaka Vari Hari Pran Abharana Mandita Variras Pandita. Radharani is decorated with so many abharan, golden ornaments, toe rings, finger rings, nose ring, earrings, ankle bells, waist bells. Very, very beautiful, all jingling. And capturing the heart of Sri Krishna. Hari Rasa Pandita. And she is a Pandit. A very learned scholar in Hari Rasa. She knows how to please Krishna. How? Naturally. She never went to school to learn how to please Krishna. Naturally she knows. Just like Brinda Devi has said. One morning, Radha and Krishna, they came out of the Kunj. And Brinda Devi went into the Kunj. When she saw, she looked around the Kunj and she saw, drops of beetle juice here and there. She saw the lack of Radharani's feet here and there. She saw the kasturi and chandan from Krishna's body here and there on the petals. She saw broken flower garlands and pearl necklaces scattered here and there. And only by seeing the evidence of Radha Krishna's Leela, she could understand so much about their beautiful pastimes. And Brinda Devi was amazed. She said, Chakrida Yaga Jasimandija Sutta Badha Gokarna Mata Chikura Navavidya Karna Sayam Kuta Prabhara Vibrama Kushalani Radyada Gista Bhakta Bhairi Jidam Jigaya. The meaning is, it seems like only yesterday. It seems like only yesterday. Chakrita Yaga Jasirandija Suttabada. Radhika was a little girl. Just running around. Her hair was tied with red thread. And she did not have the Bhadakaveri Haripran long. Only she has small pigtails, like this. And these pigtails go karna matra chikora nababidda karna. They're only long enough, they're like the ears of a calf. You know the ears of a calf, they flop down like this. So Radharani's pigtails are just like this. Not very long, only down to here. Nababidda karna. And she just had an ear piercing ceremony. So her ears are pierced, and there's still some ghee and the turmeric on the ear to make sure that there's no injury, that there's no infection in the newly pierced ear. And that little girl, with her pigtails and newly pierced ears, she's going in front of a mirror and trying to look like this. And her pigtails are going like this, and the earrings are swinging, and she's very pleased with her new. Now she has earrings. It seems like only yesterday. So Sayam Kutam Viprava Koshalani. How is it possible that in such a short time she became Koshalani, so very expert in all loving pastimes, as Brinda Devi can see by all the evidence in the Nikunj. So Radhika is a Pandit. Madun Madati Yovane Pramodamana Mandite Priyan Raga Ranjite Kalavilas Pandite Ananya Danya Kunja Raja Kama Keli Govide Kadakarisha Simam Kripakata Shavajanam Tilaka Sushobha. And Radhika is wearing such beautiful tilak. Ratimanjaya has painted Kam Yantra, the Kam Yantra, to hypnotize Krishna. on the forehead of Radhika. Subhagamirgama Khanda Subhat Subatte Chilakaming Halalate Devi Modat Pidaya Masrina Kusuna Chacham Arpaita Gatre Stana Yugamati Gandais Chittatam Kim Karisye. When will the day come when I will take various colors of Sindur and Chanda and make a very beautiful Kamyutra on the forehead of Radhika that signifies her Saubhagya. Maybe you can make the other headphone work, so I'll swap when the other one's working. So, Tilaka Susobhita Bhav, that means on her forehead is the sign of her great fortune. Great fortune means that by her love, by her beautiful, loving services, she can control Sri Krishna. And by upalakshan, by association, it doesn't mean only the tilak, but all over her body. Her sakis have done very beautiful patravali, means decorations of vines with flowers and leaves on her body in kasturi. So kanchulika charika stanamani mandita kajala nayani rasal. Her breast covered by kanchuli. This kanchuli is her bhav of modesty because she looks very beautiful, so she's covering herself with the kanchuli. There are many confidential meanings here. Kajala nayani ras, and her eyes are decorated with kajal. Srila Raghunath Das Goswami said this kajal, you see, every part of Radhika's body, every ornament, every cosmetic is actually Mahabhav, made of some mood of transcendental love. Just like a doll made of sugar. If you make a doll out of sugar, then this doll is sweet in the front, on the back, on the sides, on the top, but everywhere is the sweetness. So Radhika is the doll made of Mahabhav. So the black kajal on her eyes, this is called Prem Kutilya, the crookedness. The crookedness of brain. Hari. So, Radharani's brain is very crooked. Aheri vagati premna swabhava kutila bhavat. It is said that brain moves like a snake. If a snake wants to go in this direction, his head goes there, and then it goes that way and that way. So the snake's going like this, and gradually moving in that direction. So Radhika's love is like that, very crooked. It manifests as if it's the opposite of love. Shringarayani bhavatim abhisarayani vikshante kanta padanam parivrittayantim dhritanchala harisani rimanayani samprapya tajana sudam rashita bhavan. Srila Vishnu Thakur said, when will I decorate Radhika in beautiful blue cloth, abharana mandita, and so many abharans, and kajal, and tilak, and then bring her to meet with Krishna? But as she approaches the kunja where Sri Krishna is eagerly waiting, as soon as she sees him and Krishna sees her, then she changes her mind and turns around and starts to leave. And as she's leaving, when will I catch her by the veil and pull towards Krishna? And at that time, she'll wave her finger at me. Samprapya tajano sudam, and I'll get the nectar of Radharani's abuse in my ears. Let me go, Kalankini. I am not a girl with a bad reputation like you. Why did you bring me here? It's a trap. Like this, Radharani is abusing her sakis because love is, she wants to meet with Krishna so much. But prema nadiyaki sada ota bahida. Love always becomes manifest in opposite way. Kishilayu shayanatali kurkami amsaratam radike tava parapalava vaiparabhava. See, Jaydev Goswami, he said when Radhika comes to the kunj and she sees Krishna and she's leaving, then the sakis pull her back. And then they bring her into the kunj. And then they're about to leave and leave Radhika alone with Krishna, but she catches, don't leave me alone here with you. And Krishna sees this is a very delicate moment. If I don't say the right thing, she may just go home and then all my desires will be unfulfilled. Alas, alas. So Krishna speaks very sweetly. Oh, please. Those who are alike should associate together. So here is a very soft, beautiful bed of lotus petals, and your lotus feet are very soft, so they should come and stay together. These petals, they have an enmity towards your lotus feet because they think we are softer and more fragrant than you. So you should come and, your lotus feet should come and defeat them. So Krishna speaking, this is Chatu. Chatu Vakya, very sweet and flattering words for the tender and delicate heart of Radhika, because now his whole life is in the balance. Will she meet him or not? So Kajala Nayani Rasao, the kajal on Radhika's eyes is the crookedness of her love. Also, kajal is one metaphor, also used by Radhika herself. If Krishna, just like in Rasalila, he took Radhika alone through the forest and they played together so nicely. But when Krishna heard other Sakhis were coming, he said, oh, let's go there, further into the forest. Radhika said, I'm tired. I cannot take another step. If you want to go, you can carry me. And then Krishna disappeared. It was such a shock, she cried out, Ha Nata, Ramana Prasta, Kwasi Mahabuja, Dasaste Kripanayame, Sakai Dasha Sanidim. Oh Raman, oh my Ramana, oh my dearest, where are you, where are you? I will die just now if you don't embrace me, Mahabuja, with your strong arms. And Radhika fainted and became unconscious. So that time, the Sakhis remember that. And they think, oh, Krishna is very bad sometimes. He's not always Delalit Nayak. The Delalit Nayak, Krishna has 96 heroic moods. And the best is Delalit Nayak. That he's very submissive to Radharani and trying to please her in all ways. But sometimes he'll just disappear without warning and give so much pain. Then he becomes Shat Nayak. So the Sakhis, they criticize him. Oh Krishna, what kind of lover are you? And they make an interrogation of him. Everything is there. Shukadeva Goswami has described in the Rasa Panchati. I think, sit him down, please. Krishna, come, sit down. We have to have a conversation. Tell me. There are three types of lovers. One who reciprocates with someone even though they don't reciprocate with him, or one who never reciprocates whether he is loved or not. Can you explain about these three types of lovers? That means that they're asking Krishna indirectly, which is best and which one are you? In other words, they're trying to make him own up and take the blame. Why did you leave my Radhika? And break her heart, crying in the night. But if you criticize Krishna to Radhika, then Radhika will say, no. Aslishyava padaratam pinashtumam adarshana mama hatam karotuva yatata dava vidata lampato matprananatastu saiva napara. Krishna may make me feel like the most fortunate girl in the whole of Braj by embracing me and give pain to me by crushing me in his embrace. Or he may break my heart by disappearing. Whatever he does, he can do. But still, he is my Pran, and there is no one else. So Radhika's love is like that. So Radhika will say, no, don't criticize my Krishna. It's true that sometimes he gives me pain. But when he gives me pain, it's just like a Sakhi putting kajal on my eyes. Because applying black kajal to the eyes, it stings. It stings a little bit, but still, it's done. Why? Because after a few moments it will dry and be cooling and shining very beautifully. So Radhika's love is like this, like kajal. How kajal is applied. She feels that, oh, whatever fault Krishna has, whatever he does, even if he seems cruel to me, he's not being cruel. It's just like applying kajal, because after a little time, he knows that the praying will shine even more beautifully than ever before. So now Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur is saying, Sakala Chodiya se Radha Charane, give up everything and take shelter of the lotus feet of Radhika. Dasyoya Bhajo Paramap Jatane. Jatane means endeavor. Param means highest. Make your strongest and best endeavor. Dasyoya Bhajo, to become Radha Dasi. Whatever it takes, do or die. Saundarya Kiran Dekiya Jaha, Rati Gauri Leela Garava Pariha. Rati, the goddess, the wife of Cupid, the god of love. Gauri, the wife of Mahadev Shiva. Leela, the Shakti of Lord Narayan in Vaikuntha. They're very proud of their beauty. But Saundarya Kiran Dekiya Jaha, when the rays of Radharani's beauty spread out, then Rati, Gauri and Leela, their pride is completely vanquished. They feel insignificant. Sachi Lakshmi Satya Sobhaga Balane Parajita Hoy Jahara Charane. And even though Sachi, the wife of Indra, Lakshmi, the wife of Lord Narayan, Satyabhama in Dwarka, the wife of Krishna in Dwarka, Sobhagya Balane, they think that they are very, very fortunate. But when they see the fortune of Srimati Radharani, then they are completely defeated. Krishna Vasikari, Chandravali Adi, and Chandravali also. She is also defeated by Radhika's Krishna Vasikari, her power to control Krishna. So this is very deep. Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur here is paraphrasing the prayers of Srila Raghunath Das Goswami. Ratin Gauri Lilay Tapi Ratin Gauri Lilay Api Tapati Saundarya Balanay Sachi Lakshma Satya Parabhavati Sobhagya Balanay Vasikarais Chandravali Braja Mukhanabina Braja Sati Chipatya Rat Yatam Hari Daitaradam Bhajamana. Srila Raghunath Das Goswami has said this in Sanskrit. Now Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur is opening it out in the simple Bengali language to sing and deep meditation. Why is Raghunath Das Goswami writing this verse? How Radharani's beauty defeats Rati Gauri Leela, her good fortune defeats Sachi Lakshmi Satya, her power to control Krishna controls defeats Chandravali. Why? He's coming from Rupa Goswami, Ujjwala Nilamani. There's a quality of the prema of Radhika. It is called Uru Prema Sampadvati Brinda Atishaita. Very easy to remember. Uru Prema Sampad means great treasure of love. There are some goddesses who have a great treasure of love. So that is called Uru Prema Sampadvati. Like Bhagavati is a woman who has good fortune. Kalavati means a woman who is artistic. So Uru Prema Sampadvati, those goddesses who have a very high level of prema, Brinda, the whole group of them, Atishayitva. That means to exceed them, to thoroughly exceed them. So Radhika's prema has the quality Uru Prema Sampadvati Brinda Atishayitva. In the stage of Prem, Sneha, Man, Pranaya, Rag, Anurag, Bhav, Mahabhav, Ruddhabhav, Adhiruddhabhav, Modan. When Radhika's love comes into the state of Modan, then this manifests that all these goddesses just become completely defeated. So this is the inner meaning of this kirtan. So that Modanakya Mahabhav has such a quality. It was glorified by Lord Shiva to Parvati. He said, Loka atita dajanda kautikam apichai kalikam yatsukam dukam chetam pritagyadi kutamube tadgatstata kutatam naiva basa tulam shive apitad tatkuta doyam radhika premudyad sukuduk singh pavayo vindeta bindu api. Mahadev, remembering the greatness of Radhika's love, said, O Shiva, O Parvati, if all the happiness in the entire three worlds, in all of the universes, in past, present and future were gathered together in one pile. And all the distress, all the pain, suffering and tears in all of the planetary systems, the three worlds, in all of the universes, past, present and future, were gathered together in another pile. Then these two piles would not even be equal to 2 drops in the ocean of the happiness and distress simultaneously that Radharani feels in her praying for Sri Krishna. This is the Modhan Bhav that Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur is describing here. It's so incredible that even from the stage of Bhav and praying in the early stages, then in love of meeting, there's a little bit of fear that after some time we'll have to be separated. So there's a little feeling of separation at the time of meeting in the stage of praying, stay and man. And because of that fear of impending separation, then the love is always fresh. Every second one is very thirsty for that. And at the time of separation, there's always some meeting. Because at the time of separation, a spurti may take place, a vision of Krishna in the heart, or in a dream, or even outward, a bahispurti, outwardly. So in this way, meeting is experienced with a little separation, or separation experienced with some meeting, or one may become completely absorbed in that meeting, and then meeting and separation are experienced in a serial. First separation, and then it turns into meeting. Or first meeting, and then in praying by Chitra, it turns into separation. So meeting and separation are experienced serially. But what happens when Radhika's Ruddha Bhav comes? This is not even in Chandravati's group. Only gopis in Radhika's group have this. And Shamala and her group, they can have to some degree because they associate with Radharani's group. So, in this stage, there is full meeting and full separation simultaneously. Just like, if there's no hunger, then there's no pleasure in eating. If there's no food, hunger is just pain. And if there's food but there's no hunger, then food is also pain. So the two have to be there, the food and the hunger, the meeting and the separation. But the thing is, when you have food, at first you're hungry, and as soon as you begin to eat, the first few bites, that's the maximum happiness. Right? Because you have full hunger, and you're just starting to eat. But as you're eating, the hunger is going down, and the pleasure of the eating is also going down. So it quickly goes down. But in this Bhav, modern Bhav, that Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur is describing here, there is simultaneously full hunger and full tasting at the same time, so that is a maximum ananda. That is paramananda. Therefore, Purnamasi Devi said, Pida Bina Vakala Kutuka Tataga Vasya Nirvasano Nisyandenu Mudam Sudama Durimahankara Sankochana Prema Sundari Nandanandana Pro Jagati Yasantre Gayante Sputamasa Bhakkavat Madaraiste Naiva Vikrantaya. Oh, only those who have this love for Krishna can know its sweet and crooked way in which it attacks the heart. It is like a mixture of amrita and poison together. If a person takes a shower in amrita, nectar, then the nectar becomes very proud of its power to give pleasure. And if someone will drink fresh, deadly kalakut bish, then that poison is very proud of its power to give pain. But in the presence of this brain, which is like a mixture of poison and nectar, then both nectar and poison, they all become shy, embarrassed, and think, we are weaklings, we have no power at all. So Srila Vishnu Thakur here said, Lampatyatana bamunam vishayam prakoravam aswadayam apimadadduridam dadanaha aladiyam Amrita Rashva Iva Trilokim Santapayam Pralayasura Iva Babati. In this love of Radha and Krishna, the prem itself has lampatata. A lampat is a greedy person. Very greedy, they're never satisfied. So the prem of Radha Krishna has lampatata. And because of this lampatata, when they meet each other, Navavanam Vishayan Prakurvam, it's as if they have never met before. As if everything is completely new. And even when they meet, then the next moment, as they're meeting, they feel as if they have not met. It's a thirst that cannot be quenched. So Vishnu Thakur is saying, Lampatyatana Bhavanam Visham Prakuravam. And so the meeting causes a taste which is thoroughly intoxicating. And it gives such a pleasure. Ladayan Amrita Rashva Iva Babati. Just like from the moon, all Amrita comes. So from this meeting of Radha and Krishna, it is like a moon of nectar that floods the three worlds with nectar. Everything. You know, Dhanvantari appeared with a pot. Very difficult to get one drop of nectar. There are 4 incarnations of the Lord involved. Karma was underneath the mountain, Vishnu was on the top, Ajita was churning, then Mohini Murti came. That's already 4. And then Dhanvantari. 5 incarnations of the Lord just to get one pot of nectar. But this meeting of Radha Krishna is like the 3 worlds from top to bottom become flooded with nectar. But at the same time, Santa Payam Pralayasura Iva Babati, it's like the sun at the time of the annihilation of the universe. When the sun becomes so hot that all the planets are burned and destroyed. That nectar and that sun at the same time. The reason Vishnu Thakur is giving the example of the moon and the sun is because the sun is heating and the moon is cooling. But the sun heats and the moon is cooling depending on the nature of the receptacle. Right? If you put wood in the sun, it doesn't heat up so much. But glass or metal or stone will become red hot. You cannot touch it. You'll burn. So in the same way, each person, in accordance with their dedication to the lotus feet of Radhika, they feel the heat of the poison of praying, and they feel the coolness of the nectar of the joy of meeting at the same time. Because Mahabharata has one quality called Yavadashray Vritti. It spreads out and pervades those who are close enough to see and hear. So Thambula Panapada Madina Payodana Disara Didi Brinda Ranya Maheswara Priyatya Yastoshanti Priya Prana Prestak Apikula Pikila Sankochita Bhumikai Keli Bhumi Shurupa Manjri Mukasta Dasika Sansraye Srila Rabhanath Das Goswami is saying, I want to take shelter of Rupa Manjari, who is the leader of all of Radharani's maidservants. Because at the time when Radha Krishna are meeting together in the Kunja, then Radhika's contemporaries, Lalita, Vishaka, Chitra, Champakalata, Induleka, Tungavita, Ranivadevi, Sudevi, because they're contemporaries of Radharani, she's shining their presence. So they recede and they'll go and sit under a tree on the bank of Jamuna. But the dasis, they will stay there and freely enter and come and go and serve Radha and Krishna, whatever they need at that time. So if they're close enough to see and close enough to hear Radha Krishna's beautiful pastimes, then what will happen? Aladayan Amrita Rasva Iva Babati. Oh, it is as if for them the universe becomes flooded with nectar, and at the same time they're burning in the sun at the time of the annihilation of the universe. They can experience this. So this is why Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur is saying, Sakala Chajiyase Radhacharani, give up everything and make a very intense endeavor to try to be the dasi of Srimati Radhika. Haridvaita Radhacharana Prayasi, Bhaktivinode Shri Godrumavasi. This Bhaktivinode Thakur, the resident of Godrum, is praying, aspiring for the service of the lotus feet of Prishopala. Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur ki Jai! Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur has written many, many songs. We should, according to our adhikar, first follow his songs of Sharanagati and be surrendered. Then follow his songs of the glories of Harinam. Yashomati Nandana Brajabaranagara Gokula Ranjanaka Vibhavuri Shesha Aloka Provesha Nidachadi Jiva Bolo Hari Hari Mukunda Murari Rama Krishna Hayagriva. He has written Nam Kirtans. Then he has written Rup Kirtans. Janama Safalaja Krishna Darshanaja Bhagyo Yachi Eko Vikasya Rindayan Hare Krishna Darshan Chari Jiva Chite Rabika. Oh Saki, if someone will see the son of Nandamaraj just once, his life is successful. His heart will blossom, his eyes will blossom, and all Chitta Vikar will stop. He'll go into a samadhi, into trance, on the beauty of Krishna. Tribanga Bhangima Rupa, how he is standing in Tribanga form, beneath the Kadamba tree. So Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur has given Rup Kirtan, he's given Gun Kirtan, Leela, and then Rup, Gun, Leela, Parika and Seva. These kirtans, they begin to describe Radha Seva. Chorata Purusha Bhiman Kinkar Hoinu Ajika Kinkar Hoinu Ajika Baraja Vipine Saki Sa Seva Bukuru Radhana Kanto Bimala Manoharini Niti Radha Krishna Vimohi. So Nam Kirtan, Rup Kirtan, Gun Kirtan, Seva Kirtan. Chodata Purusha Abhiman. When will I give up the Purusha Abhiman? Identification with this body as the enjoyer of this world. Kinkoi hoinum ajika. Hey Kana, Kana. You know Krishna is very difficult to say. Krishna say a ka, and then a ra, and then a sh. So if you're very emotional, it's hard to pronounce Krishna. So Kana. Oh Khan, today I have become your kinkari, your maidservant. In the forest of Vrindavan, when will I be there? And my Saki will give me an order, make some garlands. And then I'll make Ganto Bimala Manohari. Every day I'll make garlands. And I give to my Saki and watch from afar with great wonder as she places them around the necks of Radha and Krishna. So in this way, from beginning to end, Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur has taken a hand. Oh, come on. Sing the song of Sharanagati. Surrender, surrender. Gurudev Kripabindu Diya. Have devotion to your Guru. Vaishnava Thakur. Pray to the mercy of the Vaishnavas. Like this. Nam Kirtan, Gun Kirtan, Seva Kirtan, Leela Kirtan. Everything. Every step of the way, Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur has swept the path for us to attain our direction. Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur ki Jai! Tadiya Abhibhav Titi Mahotsav ki Jai! Jai Gaura Premanande! So always be, you may, physically you may be in whatever, North Carolina, but in your heart always live with Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur in Godrundweep, hearing and chanting and following in his footsteps and immersed in the current of his moods. So we'll sing one kirtan, and then onomatopoeia. Hare Can you give me this? You can stand